says his would be Forrest Gump. I mean, how many years of Oscars? What, 70, 80 years of Oscars? You can't have seen them all, and especially with the Oscars, a lot of maybe not nowadays, but say 5, 10 years ago, maybe more closer to 10 years ago, a lot of the movies that were up for Best Picture, you'd never have a chance to see. Nowadays, movies are getting more wide releases, and then with the addition of things like Netflix and stuff like that, you get a better chance to see movies. So nowadays it's not so much, but back in the day, it was hard to see. You'd be like, "What is that movie?" That's why I kind of lost love for the Oscars, because they had movies they would vote some Best Picture, and you would have no idea what that movie was, and then I'm supposed to care about it. But I was going through the list, and there's a few that I like. Movies like Casablanca, stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of great movies, but if I'm going to pick one that's near and dear to me, it's going to be Braveheart. That movie will always and forever, even though I pick out the mistakes in that movie every time, and it drives me nuts. I still love the epic feel of that movie. You have great characters. I love the Irishman. I can never remember his name. Steven, I think. And this goes back to the question: is F words, necessary with this guy? His character, it is, and that's what It's funny, the way he delivers his F bombs. Yeah, I love Braveheart. That was the closest thing to fantasy. I know it wasn't a fantasy film; it's historical, but or at least somewhat. I mean, the real William Wallace looked nothing like Mel Gibson, but yeah, Braveheart by far would probably be. I mean, there's a lot of movies there, and I debated it, and I wanted to say Casablanca, and I love that movie, but yeah, the one that I love the most, it'd have to be Braveheart. And I think when it comes to picking out of these movies, you're gonna pick what's near and dear to you. Because I mean, I like Forrest Gump too, but Braveheart. I just love the epic scale of it, and I love the characters, and there's a lot of heartbreak in that movie, and they get you invested in the good guys and the bad guys and the flip floppers and everything, and yeah, just a great movie, and so yeah, Braveheart would be my pick for that. The last question comes from Jeff Hudson, and he asks, "Do you enjoy the current Hollywood trend of pushing more commercial licensed films, examples, board games, comics, reboots, prequels, book trilogies, etc.? Or is the market already too saturated?" It's a little bit of both. Do I enjoy the current Hollywood trend? Yes, because back before, say, Blade, and even Blade and a lot of those movies, the effects were good at the time, but they weren't up to standard. You'd have a movie that, you wanted to see. I mean, look at the old Hulks and stuff, and I love Lou Ferrigno. Don't get me wrong; I'm not ripping on all that, but I mean, the Hulk I want to see is 10 foot tall and a monster, not a guy painted. Like I said, I love the old Hulk show, so I'm not ripping on you, Lou. I love you, Lou. But and I've met the guy a few times. He's a great guy, but I want to see what I look at in the comics. We'll use that as an example. So nowadays, I mean, look at the Avengers. I mean, arguably the best part of that movie was the Hulk, and he wasn't even in it a ton, but just the way they portrayed it and the way it looked and all of it, and it just worked. So yeah, I mean, maybe not so much the reboots and prequels. I think there is a huge oversaturation of that. I don't know why we have to go backward, especially when it comes to prequels. Advance the story. That's why I'm glad to see we're getting episode 7 of Star Wars finally. I mean, whenever George Lucas came out with the idea of prequels, I didn't want prequels. I wanted Episode 7. I wanted to know what happened to Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Leia. I didn't want to know, where Anakin Skywalker came from. And if that's where Anakin Skywalker came from, my God, you know. But the trend, the commercially licensed on the board games stuff. What I found the problem with the board games idea was, and there's different ways of looking at it, but you'd have. We'll use two examples. We'll use the two games I'm going to talk about is Rock'em Sock'em Robots and Battleship. Okay, when it comes to Battleship, that movie had some great ideas, but the fact that they forced the battleship idea on you hurt the film, and it could have been a lot of fun. The ideas that were cool was, and those of you that haven't seen him, I'm going to spoil it a little here, but I mean it's not that great of a movie anyway. So, two things. There was first the aliens had these missiles that would hit the ships and then push in and then explode. And then you thought, man, that's really cool. But then you realize, hey, them look like pegs from the game. So, that kind of hurt it for me. And then the second thing was they lost their radar or something, and they had to use these weather patterns to find where the enemies were. And and then you start realizing that they're doing the whole A1, B5 hit miss thing, and you just kind of groan. And if they really, and this will go into the next movie I'm going to talk about. If they wouldn't have called it Battleship, if they just would have said, yeah, this movie, or maybe not even told anyone, this movie is inspired by the board game Battleship, and they could have attached Hasbro's name to it. Maybe people finally would have just got it themselves and thought, that's clever. If they would have said this movie was just inspired by it, or they didn't say anything, I think it would have been a little more. I mean, the movie wasn't great anyway, but I think people would have been a little more forgiving, and some people still are. Some people actually like that movie, and that's fine. But some people, that's what killed it for me was they're gonna do that. I mean, the alien story behind it wasn't that great anyway. So, but the second movie, it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but they didn't call it Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and they never said you knocked my block off, and that was Real Steel. That movie took aspects from Rock'em Sock'em Robots and hit it within a story that was almost like Rocky. Excuse me. And so that movie did it right, and that movie was a lot of fun. It had a lot of heart. But deep down, and though I don't believe it was whoever was the producer or whoever made Rock'em Sock'em Robots, they never come out and said, yeah, this is Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And it worked really well. So some work, some don't, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I love seeing the book trilogies. I mean, we got Lord of the Rings. Now we're getting The Hobbit. Granted, it wasn't a book trilogy. It was one book. But the licensed films, the comics and stuff. I mean, I love seeing the comic films. I think that now is the time. And that being said, he asked, is it already too oversaturated? Yeah, it is. Because for every good comic book film movie we got last year, Avengers, Judge Dredd. If you have not seen Judge Dredd, please see Judge Dredd. I want a sequel so bad. That movie was so great, and it didn't get the appreciation it should have. And I honestly think it's Sylvester Stallone's fault because of his version in the 90s, but I think it was late 90s. For everyone that we got good, say, comic book movie, we got, and I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. We got a bad one like A Dark Knight Rises and the new Spider-Man, which it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that good either. The old one, the first old one's better, even though it's got its moments too. But maybe I should have said Spider-Man 2, even though it had its moments as well. Um, but yeah, there's going to be hits and misses, and that's the trend in movies. Um, so yes, I'm excited that the trend is here because we're getting some really good movies. Hunger Games, we're getting that series. Um, the fans of the Twilight get their series. But I think the trend is only going to get worse, and it's only going to get more saturated. I mean, I believe it was Stephanie Myers that wrote Twilight. She's getting a new series on her books, and you know the books could be crap, and she's getting a series probably just because she wrote Twilight. But then again, they could be good too. Um, but you look at nowadays, excuse me. People could, they got their Harry Potters. We got Lord of the Rings. Now we're getting all the comic book stuff where technology wouldn't allow it. I mean, come on. I mean, look at like I said, the Hulk or Thor, or and look at older versions of them, and you know, you could only ever back then get it from animation, and so, um, I'm glad that the trend is here, but yes, it is definitely oversaturated, and it's only going to get worse. And then, a new trend will arise, and then they'll oversaturate that's the nature of Hollywood, is oversaturation. So, yeah, that's my thought on that. All right, that's going to about do it for the first ever Real Opinion Q&A. I want to thank everybody that sent in their questions. Sorry I didn't get to them all. But like I said, more came in than I thought was going to. And like I said, a lot of great questions. I had a lot of fun answering them. But now it's time to pick the winner of the gift card that I have for the best question. And this was tough for me, guys, because there's a lot of questions. I went back and forth on which one I wanted to give it to, and I decided to pick the one I had the most fun answering, and that's going to go to Tina Robinson for a question about what did the Rock suggest CM Punk get a tattoo of and wear. Those of you that haven't seen that promo, it's one of the best promos, especially back and forth promos that's happened in a long time, and wrestling is struggling lately, and though they have some good stuff going on, this promo between The Rock and CM Punk's very funny, and getting to break out the toy of The Rock and perform it was a lot of fun. So Tina, you are the winner. I would like you to email me at therealopinion@yahoo.com. Don't forget the underscores in the email address, and I will get you your gift card. What you win is a $25 gift card to Fandango, so you get to go to the movies on me. And next time we do this, we'll probably do something similar. I'm not sure when the next one will be. I got a lot of projects I'm working on. But guys, I appreciate all the support. And once again, thank you to everyone that understand that this is coming out a little late because, like I said, my son was in the hospital, and I didn't have time to do everything the way I wanted to. But guys, I appreciate all the support. I always like to say the Real Opinion is not just about me. It's about all of you as well. Anytime you guys approach me in public and talk movies, I love every minute of it. It's not just my opinion, guys. It's only just one guy's opinion, as I like to say. Movies are for everybody. They're not just for one critic. And I appreciate that I get the forum that I do to talk about movies, to review movies, but really the most fun I have with this whole project is talking to you guys in the public about movies. So, guys, really, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the support, and here's to a great future for the Real Opinion, that it becomes something that's for everybody, and you guys are as big a part of it as me. So I really do appreciate every minute that I've done this, and it's fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you too. So anyway, this has been Gino Reynolds from The Real Opinion. Until next time.